The morning I left for my beach vacation, my husband, Daniel, hugged me goodbye and reminded me to call whenever I arrived safely. Instead, the moment my plane landed, I blocked his number. I told my friends I wanted a peaceful vacation without constant messages or interruptions. They laughed, agreeing I deserved a break. For the next 7 days, I ignored every thought of home while posting smiling pictures online. I never imagined Daniel would see them. More importantly, I never imagined he would quietly make a decision during my absence that would completely change the life waiting for me after I returned. Every morning began with sunshine, coffee, and long walks along the beach. I convinced myself blocking Daniel was harmless because I planned to unblock him before flying home. Whenever my friends asked whether he was worried, I shrugged and laughed. He'll survive 1 week without me, I joked confidently. What I didn't know was that Daniel had tried calling several times after a family emergency involving his father. Every call went straight to voicemail. By the 3rd day, he stopped trying. Instead, he quietly accepted that someone who truly valued their marriage wouldn't deliberately make themselves impossible to reach. When Daniel realized I had intentionally blocked him, something inside him changed. He spent the rest of the week packing only his personal belongings and meeting with an attorney. Months of feeling ignored, dismissed, and treated like an inconvenience suddenly made painful sense. My vacation wasn't the reason our marriage was ending. It simply became the moment he stopped believing things would ever improve. Before I boarded my flight home, Daniel had already signed the divorce papers, rented a small apartment across town, and left the house we once shared together without telling anyone where he had gone. The moment I walked through the front door, an uncomfortable silence greeted me. The living room looked strangely empty. Daniel's favorite chair was gone. His jackets no longer hung beside the entrance, and every photograph of us had disappeared from the walls. My heart started pounding. I called his name repeatedly, but nobody answered. Then I noticed a large envelope resting neatly on the kitchen table. Inside were signed divorce papers, his wedding ring, and a handwritten note. The first sentence stole every bit of confidence I had left. I hope you enjoyed the peaceful vacation you wanted so badly. My hands shook uncontrollably as I read the rest of Daniel's letter. He explained how he had tried reaching me after his father suffered a medical emergency, only to discover I had blocked him. He wrote that the silence hurt less than realizing I had chosen it on purpose. Tears blurred my vision as I reached for my phone and finally removed him from my blocked list. I called immediately, straight to voicemail. I called again and again without success. For the first time all week, I understood what it truly felt like to be completely shut out of someone's life. The next morning, I finally reached Daniel through his attorney. He agreed to meet me one last time at the law office. The moment I saw him, I burst into tears. "I'm so sorry," I whispered. "I never thought 1 week could destroy everything." Daniel remained calm. "It wasn't 1 week," he replied quietly. "It was years of feeling like I came last. Blocking me during a family emergency simply showed me where I truly stood." His words hurt because they were true. The vacation hadn't ended our marriage. It had exposed the reality we had both ignored for far too long. I begged Daniel to give me another chance, promising counseling, honesty, and complete transparency. He listened respectfully without interrupting. When I finished, he asked only one question. "If I had blocked you during an emergency because I wanted peace, would you have forgiven me?" I opened my mouth to answer, but nothing came out. Deep down, I already knew I wouldn't have accepted that excuse. My silence answered him more clearly than words ever could. Respect isn't measured by apologies after the damage. It's measured by the choices we make before trust is broken beyond repair forever. Over the following months, the divorce moved forward peacefully. Daniel never spoke badly about me to friends or family, and I never challenged the settlement. Instead, I spent long evenings reflecting on how easily I had mistaken thoughtlessness for independence. Wanting personal space wasn't wrong. Cutting my husband completely out of my life without warning was. That difference became painfully clear only after I lost the person who had always been there. Some lessons arrived through advice. Others arrived through consequences that cannot be undone, no matter how sincerely we wish for another opportunity to make different choices afterward. Nearly a year later, I drove past the neighborhood where Daniel and I had once lived. The house had new owners. Children played in the yard, and life had moved on without us. I realized the greatest mistake I made wasn't blocking his number. It was believing someone who loved me would always wait while I ignored their feelings. Healthy relationships survive temporary distance, but they rarely survive repeated disrespect. Looking back, I no longer blame Daniel for leaving. I finally understood why he had. Sometimes love ends quietly, long before either person is willing to admit the truth aloud. Today, whenever I travel, I never silence the people who matter most. I learned that peace doesn't come from shutting loved ones out. It comes from building relationships where communication remains open, even across thousands of miles. Daniel's note still rests inside a drawer at home, reminding me how one careless decision revealed years of hidden problems. I often wish I could rewrite that vacation, but life doesn't offer second drafts. The empty house waiting for me wasn't punishment. It was the consequence of choices I never believed carried such a heavy cost until everything I valued was already gone.